In the news coming in from Pakistan, Japan's military helicopters add to the aid effort on Tuesday using the Multan Army Aviation Base in Punjab province to ferry aid to flood victims. Floodwaters have devastated Pakistan for the past 5 weeks, were heading to Arabian Sea after swallowing 2 final towns, but the challenges of delivering emergency aids to 8 million people still remained.
The floods have moved on from the mountainous northwest, submerging or affecting almost 1/5 of the country at their peak. Waters have begun to recede in north and in the eastern province of Punjab, but there have been submerging towns in the southern Sindh province close to the Indus River over the last 10 days. The spokeswoman for the UN's Aid Coordination Office, OCHA, Elizabeth Byers, said that the situation continues to be grave and serious south of the state of Sindh, mainly in the areas where the river Indus flows into Arabian Sea. Byers said that the number of people directly affected by the floods had reached 17.6 million. The scale of the disaster has raised concerns about the stability of Pakistan, which is already reeling from militant violence and massive economic wars. Foreign countries have pledged hundreds of millions of dollars to help Pakistan respond to the floods. Even the country's arch rival India has offered assistance and announced on Tuesday that it will increase its aid from $5 million to $25 million. Authorities have struggled to feed, house and arrange medical care for the survivors of the flood. Foreign donors and the United Nations were slow to respond to the disaster, in part because it took a long time for its extent to become clear. Aid is slowly reaching the worst affected areas by army helicopter, road and boat, but millions have received little or no help. The UN warned that additional funding for emergency food was urgently needed to ensure supplies into next month. Authorities have also struggled to cope with growing number of cases of severe diarrhea and malaria caused by dirty water that offers a perfect breeding ground for insect and diseases. More than 500,000 cases of acute diarrhea and nearly 95,000 cases of suspected malaria have been treated since the floods first hit, the UN's World Health Organization said on Tuesday. Once all the floodwaters recede, the country will be left with a massive relief and reconstruction effort that will cost billions of dollars and take years. An estimated 1 million homes have been damaged or destroyed, 5 times as many as were hit by this year's earthquake in Haiti.
More from international news now. The United States declares the end of its combat mission in Iraq, leaving behind 50,000 troops to help train Iraqi forces, and considerable trepidation about whether Iraq can take control of its own security. Scattering of troops still await departure, and the remaining troops will stay another year in what is referred to as Operation New Dawn in a designated non-combat role. They will carry weapons to defend themselves and accompany Iraqi troops on missions, but only if asked. Special forces will continue to help Iraqis hunt for fighters. With no new Iraqi government in sight and violent attacks still frequent, some views the United States military departure with more fear than hope. Insurgents have kept up a relentless campaign against the country's institutions and security forces. Iraqi forces are vastly improved, and attacks have plummeted since the dark days of 2006 and 2007. The much diminished American military presence leaves behind a stalemated Iraqi political system that has been unable to form a new government nearly 6 months after the national elections. Violence has spiked, and insurgent bombers and gunmen seek to improve their remain of capable of producing chaos. But many Iraqis do not share the optimism demonstrated by the Vice President and the Prime Minister. The fear of political divisions, aggravated by the struggle for control of Iraq's oil potential, is ever present. March 7th, parliamentary elections left Iraq without a clear winner, and insurgents have exploited the uncertainty to hammer Iraqi security forces in near daily attacks.